Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life, your business, your health, fitness, mindset and body from where you are right now to where it is that you want to be. And today I want to talk about keeping your vision in front of you, because what often happens is that we get distracted with everything that goes on in our day-to-day worlds, that we get caught up in just life's busyness. And we forget perhaps why we got started. We forget what we're striving for over this next 30, 60, 90 days. We put all those things in the background, and what I'm encouraging you to do today is to keep them in the foreground. Why do we want to do that? Because we get more done. You achieve more. You keep progressing. We keep growing. We keep achieving what it is that we've set out under our criteria of success and fulfillment and progression in our life. But often what most people don't do is go through a process to start with, to say, what is it that I really want? What does this success really look like for me? Most people in the general population will define success as how much money they make. Sure, that is a measure, but that's a little bit like saying if you want a health and body fitness transformation, if you're only ever going to use the weight on the scale as your measure of success, then at some point you are going to fail, because there will become a point where the number on the scales doesn't matter. And where's a great example of this? You put an obese person on the scales that doesn't have any diseases or anything yet. They're in a high risk category, but you put a slim person on the scale that is full of disease, they're not strong, they're not energized, they're not focused. And if you just based it on those numbers, you might be saying, the slim person is much healthier than the other person. But that's not necessarily the case, is it? And that's why money should not be the only measure. It may not even come into your measurement of success for you in your life. But whatever that measure is that you come up with, what you have to do is put these things down in paper to say, what does my success look like to me? What am I going to be aiming for this year? What am I going to achieve? Now you can set that for 12 months in advance if you want. Personally, I find that doesn't work. For me, I find that 30, 60, 90 days works really well. I like 90 days because that enables you to think a little bit into the future. 30 days and you can maybe not stretch yourself far enough, but in 90 days you say, well, actually in 90 days I can achieve this. In 30 days, maybe I can't achieve all of that, so maybe I won't stretch myself as far. But if you say 90 days, you say, actually, I really want to go for that, and I think 90 days will give me that chance to do it, then I find for me personally, that's more powerful. But what you have to do is make sure that you write it down and you keep this document in front of you somewhere. You don't have to print it out. My recommendation is that you just have it handy. So that might be, you might have it saved into your documents on your phone. It might be, I use dual screens when I'm at my desk, which is where I spend most of my time online, is at my desk, and I'll have it open on one screen. So it makes me more aware of, okay, what was my 90-day strategy? What are those things that I've got at the top of my list right now that I need to be keeping on moving forward? And I'll be completely honest, I'm just as human as everybody else. I get just as busy or busier than other people, and things can slip by the wayside. My life at the moment is incredibly hectic. My schedule, and probably I work an average of 14 hours a day. And in that, there's family management time, there's taking some time out for myself, getting some sleep as well. It doesn't leave much left in the day to be able to do those things. So what happens is, there's some days where I don't open that document. There are some periods of time where I get so caught up in what I'm doing and supporting and coaching and growing other people that I forget to check in with what I said I wanted to do over that 90 days. And I tell you where this really works well for me during our lockdown, our couple of lockdowns that we've had here for COVID, I planned a 90-day COVID strategy. What were all those things that I wanted to do? Now, our first lockdown was probably the most efficient for me because I got more done. And maybe it just feels that way because I tackled some really big ticket items. It was a complete redevelopment of all my websites, implementing a new podcast, this one, the Mental Toughness and Body Show, as well as just tidying up some old things online that were just stale. New websites, refreshed, new content, new services, new programs, online program, new coaching services, put a shop online as well. All things that I've always thought about doing but never got around to doing. And because I had that time out of the business and working on it instead, it got a lot done for me in that first lockdown that we had, which was for about 12 weeks, so about the 90 days. Initially, they said it's going to be 6 weeks, but I thought, there's no way this is just going to be 6 weeks, and I thought, it's going to be at least 90 days. And what that did for me was create incredible focus. So every single day I got up, I couldn't wait to get out of bed and go and start working on that project or that next project, because it was the first time in my 13 years of running my business that I'd had that much time spare to be able to work on these things. So that got me excited. But it took me about a week before I got into that rhythm, because COVID was, scary, the uncertainty. Just excuse me, I've got to have a mouthful of water. We weren't sure how long we were going to go for. We weren't sure whether this was going to last years. Initially, they talked about it lasting 6 months, maybe 9 months, 12 months. At that point, there was no talk of support for our businesses. There wasn't any indication at all. So we're thrown into complete mayhem. People went crazy in terms of buying up stuff, in terms of what they thought was going to happen in their life. And it was just a really tricky time. And so I spent the first week going through that sort of process myself and thinking, okay, first few days, I just need to communicate with all my clients. I need to put in place a strategy, switching them over to a stream service, and which clients wanted to do that, which ones didn't want to do that, and what it was going to look like for me financially, and how to adapt to everything. So, it was a pretty crazy time for me. But after that first week, I started to find that I was getting up each day a little bit flustered and no direction. So I said, no, this has got to stop. So that's when I created the 90-day COVID. So it's probably about 10 days actually. And then I created the strategy. And what that did for me also is open up a whole bunch of opportunities and thinking that I'd never even contemplated before. So if I had just thought about it off the top of my head at the time, I said, okay, yeah, now's probably a good time to redo my websites. Let's do that. And actually, I was just thinking of my main website. And so I thought about that. But then when I got into that and studied that in detail, I realized that there are a whole range of other things associated with that website that just got my mind thinking. And because I'd written it down, one thought led to another. And what started out as being my initial, I've got 3 things to work on during COVID, slowly turned into 23, or quickly turned into 23. And then I just kept chipping away. And after I'd written them all down, I then said, which is the highest priority? What can I outsource so that I can get multiple things happening all at once? And that's what I did. Really, really powerful. Then when we came to the second lockdown, again, they said maybe 4-6 weeks that it was going to be. I said, no way. Is it going to be that long? So, and again, I was right. It was much longer. And same thing. I said, well, what worked really well last time was this strategy document. So I went back, and my main goal in my second lockdown was about communication and streamlining processes on my social media and that kind of stuff. Now, if I'm analysing my own performance, I would say during the second lockdown, I didn't achieve anywhere near as much as I wanted to. I managed to maintain more clients and even pick up some clients during the second lockdown. And so that meant I was busier. So I didn't have as much time like I did in the first one. So it didn't allow me to do as much as I wanted to. But the point was, I had this document, it kept me focused, it kept me on track, and it also enabled me to create some new things to work on post, during the lockdown. And so, moving forward, what I've done is I've maintained that document, and I still use it even today. I just looked at it this morning to say, okay, what are those things that I should be working on now? Because what happens is you get caught up in the day-to-day, you get caught up in the strategic thinking part of what it is that you want to do, and you cannot actually do anything. Say, yeah, that just goes into that list in your mind that says, I should be working on that. I need to go and buy another business. I need to partner with people. I need to build more relationships. I need to do all those things, but they only remain a thought. Like my book remained a thought for about 9 years before I actually got to doing it. What I encourage you all to do is this process. Create a 90-day strategy document for yourself and write down all the things that you need to get done in this 90 days and stretch yourself. Really stretch yourself. This is your time. There's never been a better opportunity for you to do things online, do things differently, because around the globe, people are adapting to doing all kinds of things differently. Life as we know it will probably never be, or as we knew it, will probably never return to us, because our thinking's changed, the way that we live has changed, the way that we socialise has changed, the way that we interact with others has changed, the way that we get our products and services has changed forever and pushed more things online. And if you ever had any doubts before about doing things online, whether that be purchasing stuff online or learning online, I mean, the concept of doing telehealth with your doctors even 2 years ago would be, the infrastructure's not in place, you need to come in person, all that kind of stuff. But now COVID forced it to happen, and now that becomes an option on certainly my doctor's website. You can opt in for just a phone call. So what is that good for? Well, it's certainly way more efficient because you don't have to drive to the doctor, you don't have to wait, and they're always late. They just call you when they're ready. So easy, no waiting. You just keep on with your day, then you pick up the phone, connect on Zoom, whatever it is, and you have that conversation. There are so many different ways of creating opportunities for yourself right now. So create that stretch in yourself, that challenge. Whether that be your health and fitness, whether it be your business, whether it be some part of your life where you think, yes, this is what I need to work on, this is what I want to achieve, and put a date on it. Don't just say 90 days, say, mine's called a 90-day strategy document, but I put dates next to each task to say this is when it's due, this is who's working on it, this is what's required. And there are some steps that have another document that sit behind it, because like for my websites, for instance, that had to have a very detailed planning document behind that so that I could communicate with my international team to say, these are exactly the things that I want to appear on this page, this is the functionality that I want, here are the links, etc., etc. So it's kind of your guiding document to determine what action you're going to take. And then you might have some further support that sits under it. What this does for me is keep my vision in front of me 24/7, all year round. And even though sometimes I can get busy and it takes me away from some of those things, I know that it sits there and I reflect on it. And I think, okay, how can I delegate some of this so that I can still keep, this big machine moving forward? It really helps create momentum. It's probably over the last, just over 12 months, it's the single biggest thing that I have changed in the way that I operate that has helped me achieve way more than I thought was possible for me over this last 12 months. So it's really powerful. Keep that vision in front of you all the time. This document is a great way to do it. So if you want to connect with me, you can very easily. Go to the mentaltoughnessandbodyshow.com. opt in for a free consultation and let's connect. Let's talk about the different things that are going on in your life and how we can get you to make 2021 your best year yet. Because if I can do it, you can do it too. All it takes is some focus, some dedication, and the right type of coaching. Stay safe. I'll talk to you tomorrow.